In the narrow and dark streets of Madhupur, where the noise of the day and the silence of the night clashed with each other, a woman was walking fast with her little daughter in her lap. Her name was Preeti. Her sari was torn in many places. Her face was heavy with fatigue, but there was a strange sparkle in her eyes. Perhaps of hope or perhaps of revenge. Her daughter Ankle was exhausted with hunger, and Preeti had come out on an unknown road today where elders used to come and go. She had heard that perhaps someone would listen to her plea. A black tongue stopped on the roadside. Preeti gathered courage. She hugged Ankle tightly to her chest and knocked on the window of the tongue with trembling hands. The man sitting in the jeep was in simple clothes. There was deep seriousness on his face and fatigue in his eyes. Preeti thought him to be an ordinary person. His voice was trembling. The tone was full of pain and helplessness. "Sir, my daughter has been hungry for many days. You can take whatever you want from me. Just give me some money." That man was not an ordinary man, but the new SP Superintendent of Police of Madhupur, Abhishek Rajput. He was shocked for a moment. The day had not yet fully ended, and a woman, whose face clearly showed helplessness along with innocence, was ready to sell her body. Abhishek looked at Preeti with deep eyes. There was pain in those eyes and also the helplessness of a mother. He said in a soft tone, "Come with me to my house. I will give you money." Preeti's heart started beating fast. She hugged Ankle more tightly. "Sir, you will not touch me, right? You will not make me do anything wrong, right?" There was doubt in Preeti's voice. Abhishek replied with a light smile. "No, I will not do anything like that." Preeti stopped for a moment. She had no other option now. Ankle's hunger and her own helplessness were forcing her to sit in the jeep. She slowly sat in the jeep, holding Ankle in her lap. The jeep came out of the crowd of Madhupur and stopped in front of a simple bungalow. The bungalow looked very simple from outside but was clean. Abhishek opened the door and signaled Preeti to come in. There was silence inside the house. No servants, no family. Abhishek said, "I live alone. My wife died many years ago. I don't have any children." Quote. Preeti's heart became more nervous. She started thinking, does this man really want to help her? Abhishek asked her to sit and himself went towards the kitchen. After a while he brought a glass of water and offered it to Preeti. Preeti stepped back and said, "No sir, I will not drink water." Abhishek understood her nervousness. Without saying anything, he put the same glass to his lips and drank the entire water and said softly, "Look, there is nothing in this." Preeti's heart became a little lighter, but she was still cautious. Abhishek said, "Let's eat first and then we will talk." Preeti said hesitantly, "No sir, I don't want to eat. Just give me the money." Quote. There was a little anger in Abhishek's tone, but there was still softness in his voice. "If you want money, then eat first. I am not a mean person." Preeti looked at Uncle, who was crying with hunger. She silently accepted defeat. Abhishek filled the glass with water with his hands. They served the food in a plate, rotis, mango, dal, and a vegetable. They also brought a glass of milk for Ankle. Preeti made Ankle sit on her lap and fed her milk lovingly, and she herself started eating a little food hesitantly. Abhishek also sat with them and started eating gently. Preeti found all this very strange. She had never thought that a stranger, that too a police officer, would take care of her with so much respect. After eating, Abhishek asked her gently, "Preeti, why did you come on this path? What was the compulsion?" Preeti's eyes filled up with tears. She slowly started telling her story. "Sir, my name is Preeti. My husband was a truck driver. He died in a road accident 2 years ago. After his death, my in-laws threw me and my daughter out of the house. My husband had left some land and some money, but my elder brother and brother-in-law usurped everything. They intimidated me and forced me to put my thumb impression on the papers. I had no one who would have been my support. I tried hard to find work, but nobody was ready to help. My daughter was starving. This helplessness led me to the wrong path." Abhishek's heart was filled with sorrow. He slowly looked at Preeti and said, "You leave all this, Preeti. I will help you." Abhishek took out some money from his pocket and handed it to Preeti and said, "You come to me every month. I will give you money. But leave this path, and I will get your husband's property back to you." Tears flowed from Preeti's eyes. But this time those tears contained hope along with pain. She tried to touch Abhishek's feet in gratitude. But Abhishek immediately stopped her. "No, Preeti, now just take care of your daughter. Come with me to your village tomorrow morning. I will talk to your in-laws myself." The next morning Abhishek took his jeep and left for Chandrapur with Preeti and uncle. Preeti sat quietly holding her daughter in her lap. Her in-law's house in Chandrapur was an old and big house. Her elder brother-in-law Harish and younger brother Kushan lived there. Both of them had a lot of influence in the village. They had money and also close relations with local politician Virendra Singh Rao. Abhishek went to their door with Preeti and knocked. Harish opened the door. On seeing Preeti, he said in a sarcastic tone, quote, "Oh, you have come again. What is left now that you have come to snatch?" Abhishek said in a strict tone, "I am SP Abhishek Rajput speaking. Return the land of Preeti's husband that you have usurped immediately." Harish and Kushan looked at each other and smilingly Kushan said to Nak, "SP Sahab, even if you are from Madhupur, we rule here. We have the documents. Everything has happened legally. Do whatever you want to do." Abhishek's face turned red with anger. "Preeti, don't worry. I will get you justice." There was a deep silence in the jeep during the return journey. Only Anchal's soft sobs were trembling in the air. Preeti's heart was heavy. She was thinking whether she will really get justice. Preeti's sadness was hidden in the silence of her tongue. Abhishek broke that silence and said softly, "Preeti, don't lose courage. I told you I will get you justice." Preeti nodded slowly, but doubt was still alive in her heart. She had seen with her own eyes how powerful Harish and Kushan were. And what can a single SP do against people with such influence and power? But still the confidence and self-confidence in Abhishek's voice touched Preeti's heart. "I created a small ray of hope." As soon as they reached Madhupur, Abhishek arranged a small rented room for Preeti and Ankle near his bungalow. He gave Preeti some money and said, "You take care of your daughter. I will come again in a few days. Till then you should not go anywhere and never look at this misguided path again." Preeti looked at Abhishek with grateful eyes and said softly, "Sir, why are you doing all this for me? I am a stranger to you." Abhishek took a deep breath and replied, "Preeti, my wife also died in an accident. When I met her, she was also alone and helpless like you. If I had not helped her at that time, perhaps she would not have been alive today. What I did for her, I am doing the same for you." Preeti's eyes filled with tears. She hugged Ankle to her chest, silently opened her small door and went inside. On the other hand, when Abhishek reached his office, his mind was filled with the misbehavior of Harish and Kushan. He knew that this case would not be easy. These two brothers had deep connections with Virendra Singh Rao, and it is possible that some police personnel may also have joined them. Abhishek immediately called his trusted inspector Sanjay Pandey. Sanjay was an intelligent, fearless, and honest police officer. Abhishek seriously told him the whole story of Preeti. Sanjay listened to the whole thing deeply and said seriously, "Sir, Harish and Kushan have a huge influence in Chandrapur. Virendra Singh Rao is the direct hand behind them. If we have to get Preeti her right, then first of all we have to break Rao's influence." Abhishek picked up the glass kept on the table and while rotating it in his fingers said, "Sanjay, I want details of all the dirty work of these two brothers. From where are they getting so much money? Are they doing any illegal business and what does Rao have to do with them? I want information about their every small and big action." Sanjay replied while nodding, "Okay, sir, I will talk to some of my informers. But you should also be cautious. You will have to be careful. If Rao gets even a little inkling that you are after his men, he can play a trick against you. Abhishek said with a slight smile, only those who are afraid make conspiracies. Sanjay and I are not among those who are afraid. You just start your work. On the other hand, Preeti was spending time with Uncle in her small room. The room was simple, but for her it was no less than a home. For the first time she felt that perhaps fate was going to be kind to her too. She bought some essential items with the money given by Abhishek. New clothes for Uncle, some utensils and some ration. A middle-aged woman living in the neighborhood, Savitri Devi, who was soft-hearted and simple, came to meet Preeti for the first time. When Savitri heard Preeti's story, her heart was filled with emotion. She said softly, "Daughter, the path you left was very good. Now start a new life for your daughter. If you want, I can get you some weaving work. One of my daughter-in-law's daughters is a great woman. It is a small shop. You will get work there." Savitri said softly, "My daughter-in-law has a small shop. You can get work there." Hearing this, a slight smile came on Preeti's face. "Auntie, I know knitting. If I get some work, I can raise my daughter well." Savitri lovingly patted her back and said, "Okay, daughter, tomorrow I will introduce you to my daughter-in-law." Preeti took Ankle in her lap. Kissing her forehead, she thanked Abhishek in her heart, because of whom she got this new beginning of life. But this little happiness could not last long. One night when Preeti was returning from the shop to her room, on the way, suddenly some masked people stood in front of her. Preeti's heart started beating. She immediately hugged Ankle tightly and asked in a frightened voice, "Who are you people? Let me go." One of those masked people said in a strict tone, "Preeti, you are jumping too much. If you and your daughter's life is dear to you, then do not go to that SP again. Otherwise, we will not leave you and your daughter alive." Preeti's body started trembling. Her heart started pounding, but she gathered courage and said, "I am not doing anything wrong. I just want to live for my daughter." The masked men left laughing, but the fear of their words settled in Preeti's heart. That night she kept crying while hugging Uncle. On one hand, she had faith in Abhishek, and on the other hand, she was afraid that Sahib's life might be in danger because of her. The next morning, Preeti told everything to Savitri Devi. Savitri's face turned red with anger. "This is too much, daughter. Don't be afraid at all. You should tell everything to Sahib immediately." Savitri Devi held Preeti's hand and said, "Daughter, these people want to scare you into silence." Preeti said fearfully, "Auntie, if I tell Sahib, he will fight with these people and they are very powerful. I don't want Sahib's life to be in danger because of me." Savitri looked into Preeti's eyes and said in a soft but firm tone, "Daughter, you are not alone. We are all with you. And if the boss is helping you, then he is not a weak or scared person. Now you should not keep quiet. Hiding the truth is also a crime." Savit Files in his room at that time. Seeing Preeti, he smiled softly and said, "Come Preeti, sit down. How is Uncle?" Preeti, hesitating a bit but with courage, told the whole sentence. The threat of the masked men, their attitude and the fear in her heart. Abhishek's face became serious. There was a sparkle of anger in his eyes, but there was still peace in his voice. "Preeti, you did the right thing by telling me this. Now you don't worry. I will teach these people a lesson that they will remember all their lives. I don't want you to suffer any harm because of me. Those people are very dangerous," Abhishek replied softly, taking a deep breath. "Preeti, I have faced even more dangerous people in my life. It is my duty to get you justice. You just take care of your and Anchal's safety. Leave everything else to me." Saying this, Abhishek immediately called Inspector Sanjay. "Sanjay, Preeti has received a threat again. I am completely sure." Abhishek told Sanjay on the phone, "I am sure that Harish and Kushan are behind this. We cannot wait any longer. We have to get hold of their entire network." Quote, Sanjay informed, "Sir, Our informers have given us confirmed news. Harish and Kushan are involved in a illegal liquor business. And Virendra Singh Rao is also an equal partner in this. If we raid any of their big bases, Rao will also get caught in it. Abhishek immediately said, "Okay, now we have to play a big gamble. You tell your informers to find out complete information about all their bases, and yes, Preeti and Ankul should not get even a scratch." On the other hand, Virendra Singh Rao had also received the news. His special man Manoj had reached the farmhouse to tell him about the threat given to Preeti. Rao was sitting on the sofa of his comfortable farmhouse at that time. Cigar in hand, sternness on his face and sparks in his eyes. Harish and Kushan were also present in front. Rao threw the cigar on the ground in anger and said in a harsh tone, "What does this Abhishek think of himself? He thinks he will ruin my business. I will get him transferred to such an area from where he cannot return. And if he still doesn't agree, I will end his life." Harish bowed down and said, "Sir, we have scared Preeti, but she still reached that Abhishek. If she flies too high, then we will have to remove her from the way." Ram said with a cold smile and narrowing his eyes, "No, if something happens to Preeti, then Abhishek will be even more dependent on us. First we have to weaken Abhishek." He paused for a moment and then, while brushing the ash of the cigarette, said, "I will talk to my old friend DSP Prakash Sani. He will get Abhishek transferred to some remote area. Till then you both should focus on your business and keep an eye on Preeti." On the other hand, Abhishek also made a move. He immediately called his old friend lawyer Anupam Sharma. Anupam was a sharp and very honest lawyer. He knew the art of winning in the court. Abhishek told the whole story and said, "Anupam, I have to fight a legal battle for Preeti. But the issue is that there are powerful people like Virendra Singh Rao behind this. I need your help." Anupam said laughingly, "Friend Abhishek, whenever you encounter a crocodile, you immediately remember me. Anyway, I will prepare the case file. You just give me all the evidence." Abhishek sent all the evidence collected from Sanjay and other criminals to Anupam. But Abhishek's tricks did not stop here. He immediately called a fearless journalist, Sunil Verma. "Sunil, I want you to publish the news of Harish, Kushan and Rao's illegal activities in the newspaper. But there is one condition. My name should not appear anywhere." Sunil said, "You always throw me in the fire, Abhishek. But okay, give me the evidence. I will make such a big bang in tomorrow's newspaper that the city will resound." The next day there was a big headline on the first page of the city's biggest newspaper. "Liquor Mafia and Black Business of Land Chandrapur's Strongman's Alliance with Virendra Singh Rao." The news not only had the details of all the illegal activities of Harish and Kushan, but also clearly revealed Rao's name. This news created a stir in the whole city. Phones started ringing. Rao's supporters and goons all started asking nervously, "What to do now, sir?" Rao angrily called Manoj and roared, "Who published this news? I want the head of this Abhishek." But on the same night when Preeti was returning from her shop, two masked men once again stood in her way. This time their voices were more vicious and their intentions were more dangerous than before. One of them said in a stern voice, "Preeti, you have made a big mistake. You have handed over the papers to the ASP. Now neither you nor your daughter will be saved." Preeti's heart was shaken with fear. She hugged Ankul and said in a trembling voice, "I have not done anything. Let me go, for God's sake." But before the masked men could say anything else, a loud voice echoed from the nearby street. "Stop them." It was Inspector Sanjay. Abhishek had asked him to protect Preeti secretly. Sanjay immediately took out his pistol and pointed it at those masked men. Both of them started running. But Sanjay immediately caught one of them. He shot Preeti. He consoled her, "Don't worry. I will drop you home safely." On the way, Sanjay started investigating with a masked man and soon found out that Harish had sent him to scare Preeti. This news became another weapon for Abhishek. but he knew that now the real battle was to be fought in the court. It was necessary to bring Preeti's property matter under legal ambit, and for that, solid evidence was needed. That is why Abhishek immediately called Anupam and handed over all the original documents found with Preeti to him. Anupam read the documents carefully and then said, Abhishek, these documents are very strong evidence. Carefully and then said, Abhishek, these documents are very strong evidence. These have a detailed record of the lands in the name of Preeti's husband, but Harish and Kushan have got these lands registered in their names by making a fake will. We will have to prove in the court that all this has happened under force, fraud, and pressure. Abhishek replied in a serious tone, Anupam, this will not be easy. Rao is standing behind Harish and Kushan, and he will bring big lawyers to the court. We will not be able to prove anything. We must leave no stone unturned. We must leave no stone unturned. Anupam said smilingly, Abhishek, you collect the evidence. I will take care of everything else in the court. The next day, the atmosphere of Jila Court of Madhupur was quite tense. Judge Sahab Devendra Kumar was sitting on his chair. He was known for his straightforward decisions. In the courtroom, Preeti, Abhishek, and lawyer Anupam Sharma were standing on one side, while on the other side Harish and Kushan were present with their lawyer Shrikant Joshi. Shrikant Joshi was a close lawyer of Virendra Singh Rao, a man who was considered an expert in turning every doubt of the law to his advantage. The meeting started. Anupam presented his argument in an angry tone. Honorable Judge Sahab, my client Preeti is the sole owner of her late husband's property. After the death of her husband, her elder brother and brother-in-law fraudulently got her thumb impression and usurped all the property. We have the original documents which prove that the land was in the name of Preeti's husband and not in her name, Harish or Kushan's. The judge looked at the papers without any hesitation. Then turning towards Shrikant Joshi, he said, What does your client say about this? Shrikant replied in a confident tone, Honorable Judge, my client had put her thumb impression on these papers of her own free will. We also have the signed documents. Anupam immediately retorted and said, Judge sir, Preeti is an illiterate woman. She did not even know the status of these papers. I have witnesses who will testify that Preeti was forcibly threatened and seduced. Shrikant Joshi objected. Judge sir, my client's business or manji has nothing to do with this case. This is an attempt to mislead the court. Judge Sir Devendra Kumar said in a deep voice after hearing the arguments from both sides. This court will decide only on the basis of evidence and truth. Preeti, you present your case before the court yourself. Preeti's throat was getting happy. She started looking nervously towards Abhishek, who signaled her with smiling and encouraging eyes. Preeti gathered courage and said in a trembling voice, Honorable Judge Sir, after my husband's death, my brother-in-law and brother threw me and my daughter out of the house. They threatened me that if I did not put my thumb impression on the papers, they would kill my daughter. I am an illiterate woman. I did not know what was written in these papers. Preeti's truthfulness brought silence in the courtroom for a few moments. The judge looked at Harish and Kushan with serious eyes. Both of them started getting restless in their chairs. Devendra Kumar said, This matter is very serious. I want to investigate it thoroughly. In the next session, both the parties should present their witnesses and further evidence. Till then, Preeti and her daughter should be given full government protection. On coming out of the court, Abhishek put his hand on Preeti's shoulder. You showed a lot of courage, Preeti. You presented your case very well. Now you don't worry. Anupam and I will take care of the rest. With gratitude in her eyes, Preeti said, Sir, I never thought that I would be able to present my case in the court. All this happened because of you. Abhishek smiled and said, This is the victory of your courage, Preeti. Now just take care of your uncle and daughter. But an unknown fear started to arise in Abhishek's heart. He suspected that Virendra Singh Rao and his men can now take some dangerous step. At the same moment, he called Sanjay and instructed him to increase Preeti's security. He also contacted Inspector Sunil Verma so that the next step can be taken after careful consideration. Abhishek said to Sunil Verma on the phone, "Your news has put Rao on the back foot, Sunil. But now we need more evidence. If you can find out any concrete information about his liquor business, we can root them out." Sunil replied, "Abhishek, I am in a constant relationship with him. Soon you will get something big." But now Abhishek's world had changed, had touched Abhishek's heart. He had started paying attention to every little thing. When Preeti would softly sing a lullaby to Uncle while holding her in her lap, when she gathered courage to speak the truth in court despite fear, or when she would smile softly after listening to Abhishek's words, Abhishek's heart would be filled with joy. He had realized, this is not just sympathy but love. But it was not easy for Abhishek to accept and say this. A police officer with a poetic and restrained mind who always kept emotions behind duty. How could he tell his heart's feelings to a widow woman? Many times he thought of talking to Preeti in private. But every time he lost his courage. He was afraid that Preeti might misunderstand his feelings. She might feel that he is taking advantage of her pain. But the heart is a heart. He was not going to stop. In that restlessness, one night Abhishek sat alone in his bungalow and wrote a letter. "Preeti, I don't know if it is right to say this or not. But my heart does not know how to remain silent now. When I saw you for the first time, I saw only pain and helplessness in your eyes. But with time I started seeing your courage, your simplicity, and your love for Uncle and maybe even for me. Preeti, I have started loving you. This love has not arisen from any weakness or sympathy, but from the truth of my heart." Abhishek wrote at the end of the letter, "Preeti, I know your life has not been easy. I do not want to put any burden on you. If you can accept my love, then I promise that I will keep you and Uncle happy for life, and if your answer is no, even then I will keep helping you because you will always be special to me." Abhishek sealed the letter and put it in an envelope and sent it to Preeti through Sanjay. When Sanjay reached to give the envelope, he said with a slight smile, "Preeti, this sir has sent it for you. Read it carefully." Preeti held the envelope, but her heart was confused. After putting Uncle to sleep, she silently opened the envelope and started reading the letter. Every word seemed to have entered her heart. Her eyes became moist. Her heart started trembling slightly. Would a man like Abhishek, who is honest, strong, and holds such a high position, really love me? Preeti could not believe that a man like him could have love for her in his heart, but at the same time there was a fear. She did not consider herself worthy of Abhishek. She hugged the letter to her chest and got lost in deep thoughts. The next day, the courtroom door opened again. Judge Devendra Kumar was present on his chair. Preeti, Abhishek, Sheikh and Anupam on one side, while on the other side Harish and Kushan were standing on the other side with their lawyer Shrikant Joshi. This time Anupam had come fully prepared. The most important witness he had was Rameshwar Chacha, who was present on the day when Harish and Kushan threatened Preeti. Apart from him, Sunil Verma had submitted evidence, photographs and recordings of the liquor business which Abhishek presented in the court. Anupam presented his case.
How do I stop my terrier puppy from chewing my stuff?
Young dogs need lots of toys to chew.
Yeah, try that.
Terriers are super energetic. How about a run?
Honorable Judge, sir, to deprive my client Preeti of her rights, Harish and Kushan not only cheated her but also threatened to kill her and her daughter. Anupam said while completing the arguments. Honorable Judge, sir, our witness Rameshwar Chacha was present on the spot on the day when Preeti was forced to put her thumb impression on the papers. And we have also proved that Harish and Kushan are involved in illegal liquor business, due to which a big question arises on their credibility. Ramesh and Cha-Cha testified in the court with complete honesty and told how Harish intimidated Preeti and forced her to put her thumb impression. His testimony created a sensation in the courtroom. Shrikant Joshi tried to prove Rameshwar's testimony false, but he did not have any solid proof. After many hours of debate, proof and testimonies, finally Judge Devendra Kumar gave his verdict. This court believes that Preeti was cheated and coerced. Harish and Kushan got the property registered in their name illegally. That is why the court orders that Preeti be given back her husband's entire property. Also, Harish and Kushan should be booked and punished for crimes like illegal liquor business and threatening to kill. There was silence in the court for a moment. Tears of happiness and relief started flowing from Preeti's eyes. Abhishek looked at her and encouraged her with his eyes with a slight smile. The police handcuffed Harish and Kushan and took them out of the courtroom. On the other hand, the chair of the city's Virendra Singh Rao had started shaking. The rock of truth had shaken the walls of his pride. As soon as she came out of the court, Preeti folded her hands in front of Abhishek. She added, "Sir, I will never forget what you did for me. I and Ankel's entire life has changed because of you." Abhishek replied softly. "Preeti, this is the victory of your courage. I have only done my duty." Preeti paused for a moment and said, "Sir, I had read your letter." Abhishek's heart started beating fast. Preeti said softly, "I do not consider myself worthy of you. But to be the wife of a person like you is no less than a blessing." Abhishek looked at her softly and said, "Preeti, your heart, your courage. They make you worthy of every respect. Just tell me, do you want to start a new life for you and Ankel with me?" Preeti's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were tears of happiness. She nodded with a slight smile and said softly, "Yes, sir, I agree." A few months later, Abhishek and Preeti got married in a simple manner in a small temple in Madhupur. Ankel kept roaming around her mother and the palanquin decorated with flowers, laughing and playing. Time passed and one day a little guest came to their house. Their son Aro. Preeti was now not only the owner of her own land but also a happy, loving and safe home.